Hey Mountain View, this is Jerry Mullins. Josh and I got to talking the other day, and he asked me if I had anything I could share that might be encouraging. And I'd been reading some scripture and had a couple things jump out at me, and I thought I'd share it with you. And it's found in 2 Kings 6, verse 1 through 7. It's with Elisha, and it's where the prophets get ready to go down to Jordan to cut some logs to build to where they're living at, and the man swinging the axe broke it, dropped the axe in the Jordan River. And as I was looking at it, I've read it, looked at it before, and never had caught this part of it, and I wanted to share it. I think it might speak as to where we're at today. This man had borrowed an axe, and he lost it in the river. He tells Elisha about it, and Elisha asked him, where did he drop it at? The scripture said that he was so distraught that he had cried out because he had borrowed the axe. And it was his responsibility to replace it or to find it. And a lot of times we borrow things, and this era that we're walking in, a lot of people are struggling financially. And if you're like me, you've borrowed money to buy a vehicle or a home or whatever, and we're responsible, I think, sometimes for the things that we have agreed to. And he agreed, I guess, to take this back or to be responsible for it, whatever. But even in the small things, this had caught my mind, how something that small that God is concerned in it, if it matters to us, it matters to God. And Elisha asked him, where did he drop it? Or where did it fall? And I think that as I saw that earlier, we need to be specific in our prayers and not send our prayers out kind of floating here and yonder, but be more specific in our needs. And the man showed him where he dropped it. It also helps our prayers to be more spot on. And after Elijah had talked to him about the area, he cut a stick, Elisha did, and threw it in the river, and the axe head began to float. And that's the miracle in it, is steel floating. We know steel don't float. And it was up to the gentleman or the man that owned the axe head to reach down and pick it up, because Elijah told him to get it, pick it up for himself. And sometimes God does things that way for us, as he brings things into our lives that we know that are a miracle, or we know something supernatural is taking place. It's up sometime to us to move our faith toward that. And so it was up to this man to make an effort to just reach down and pick up the axe head, and to be part of that miracle, to have what God was doing in his life. And we know that faith is the substance of things that are hoped for, but it's the evidence of things that are unseen. And at the moment he was hoping for the axe head, he didn't see it, but somehow or another God did a miracle there that he became a part of it. And that's where we want to be at, is in the making of what God is doing at the moment. And even in this pandemic, we can see things that God is doing if we look for it. I remember going through the Experiencing God thing with Mountain View a year or so ago. And we need to find where God is moving and working, that we might be able to move and work with him in that. And just be blessed. I hope this really helps you. And I just want to encourage you. God is already in this. Read Psalms 139, and you'll see where God is we know he's omnipresent. And in Psalms 139, David talks about the presence of God, and how that it don't matter where he goes or what he does, God's already there. And I like to think about God being in my next week before I get to that point. And that's what I'm trying to say, is this thing didn't take God by surprise. It may have man. God will meet our needs. So be blessed.